Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez is under a lot of pressure. The corruption scandals are piling up. The Socialist Party, his wife, his brother, we're seeing a political landscape that feels more unstable than it's been in years.
Mhm.
So we're going to try to answer a very few, I don't know if they're simple questions, but they're definitely going to help us understand a bit more. So the first one is pretty simple. How bad is this moment for Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez?
Well, it's terribly bad, and especially for the Socialist Party as well. I mean, the current situation is mainly divided in three different battlefronts. On the one hand, this legislature that started after the general election of 2023 entail a very difficult position because this government only can make an anti-Vox coalition in the Congress, okay?
Yeah.
So this created a very unstable situation. This government has not been able to pass any budget during these 3 years. They passed no important reforms or bills. So they are still in a stalemate on Congress on the one hand, but at the same time, there are no an alternative majority. So it's a very weird situation, but it is not possible to have a successful motion of no confidence led by the Popular Party. On the other hand, the second big battlefront of this government, and Pedro Sánchez in particular, is the judiciary front.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of different scandals here. Some of them that are linked with his brother and his wife. And on the other hand, we have also a corruption scandal affecting the party itself and the Ministry of Transportation. And on the other hand, the former President Zapatero. And the three are collapsed together, and we don't know when starts one and finish the other. And at the same time, the third battlefront is the current situation in all the regional elections that we have held since the last 2 or 3 years. And in all of them, the Popular Party and Vox have reached about 48-50% of the votes, and the Socialist Party is going down and down and down, and all the parties on its left are disappearing. So the situation is extremely difficult for him. It is not, on the other hand, something very different if you see what is going on the rest of the world. I mean, to see instability, volatility, polarization is quite common. It doesn't matter the place you look at, but it is true that nowadays the situation for Pedro Sánchez is extremely tricky.
Yeah. We're supposed to have elections in July of 2027.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to make it that far?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Probably he will call for a snap election. I mean, he has made the compromise of, and he declared that he wants to have an election in 2027. It is feasible for sure. But he has also said that he will try to pass a budget. And we know that probably he will fail on doing so. The vote of the budget in Spain tends to take place on December. And after that, you can call for a snap election, and it can lead the general election to February or March. This is important because timing is crucial in Spanish politics. And in May, we will have regional and local elections. So there's a lot of pressure from its own party, but also from the coalition partners in Congress to prevent having all the elections the same day. They don't want this because they consider, and they are probably right, that this having all the elections together will contaminate the regional and local elections and will be a plebiscite about Pedro Sánchez. And the Nationalist Basque Party or the other parties, or even socialist mayors and regional presidents, do not want that. They prefer to discuss about their own situation on local and regional politics.
Yeah. Like, if we look at the map now of Spain, we see that most of the regional governments are under a blue color, right? Like the PP, center-right PP. 3 of them are doing coalitions with Vox, which is the far right. So should we expect, the way things are going, should we expect a PP-Vox coalition government next year?
Yeah, I think so. In general, Vox is signaling that they want to enter in the coalition government. It's true that they have had different strategies concerning that because they started to make coalitions with the Popular Party in 2023. Then in 2024, they split up all those governments because of migration policies. And now they are going back again to enter in governments. And it's very interesting to see how Vox have changed the kind of things they are bargaining, or they are pushing on this process of negotiation with the Popular Party. They used to talk a lot about sexual minorities, feminism, and so on. Now they are only talking about migration. So they have learned a lot about their partners in Europe, and they know that they need to be specialized. One single issue party focus on migration.
We're hearing a lot about the national priority.
Exactly. Therefore, what is interesting is to see how it's going to be the relation of MPs between the Popular Party and the Vox, because depending on the strength of Vox, they will claim more or less portfolios, and the kind of portfolios is crucial. It's not the same having, for instance, Vox with the Defense Ministry, which is very likely, or Agricultural Ministry, very probable, than Interior or Migration. It's not the same, because probably they are looking for a Salvini model. Say like.
So what is that government going to look like to you? It's going to be probably lower taxes for corporations and
exactly. They will follow this. They will combine two sides of the same coin to some extent, which is, again, lowering taxes, less intervention, less social policies. They will skip green policies. They will push again nuclear energy, because they are always saying about that. And they will try to restrain migration. We don't know if they are going to be able to do so, because it's not so easy as they consider. Because at the end of the day, you have to consider also how the market and the enterprise structure in Spain is working. You're still requiring migration for more of for instance, tourism and so on. But it is true that they will try to refrain that. Let's see what happens. We don't know yet, because it's going to be an experiment. We have never had a coalition government from the right with the radical right in government. So it's going to be something new, very common in Europe, not so common here in Spain.
Do you think that the Partido Popular is moving right in order to reach a coalition with Vox? Have you seen a kind of like a Voxization of the Partido Popular?
If you compare the Popular Party with other right-wing parties and conservative parties in Europe, the Popular Party is already one of the rightist one. It is the case simply because, remember that here in Spain, what we have seen is an evolution from the right to the center and not the other way around. Remember that in the structure of how our political system started, at the very beginning, we have two central parties, which were the Socialists and UCD, and then you have the Popular Party, or the Alianza Popular, and the Communist. When UCD disappeared, they remained as the only right-wing party, and they started to move towards the center. So to some extent, some of the policies of Vox, are going to be easily assimilated by the Popular Party, because they are already there. It's true that it depends more on the region we talk about than on the party by itself. Meaning by that, it's not the same the position of Díaz Ayuso concerning migration, for instance, when you talk about Latin American people, than the position about social policies when you go to Andalusia and Moreno Bonilla, in comparison with, the Partido Popular of Comunitat Valenciana. They try to change the discourse, because here in Spain we have 17 different arenas, and the Popular Party has to suit its message to each of them.
Well, imagining that we have a PP-Vox coalition government next year, what do you think happens with the Socialist Party? What do you think happens with the PSOE in a post-Sánchez world? Who would be filling that void? Because Sánchez is such a important, not isolationist, but it's very, it's all about him when it comes to the Socialist Party. So who fills that void?
Well, one good news and two bad news for them. The good news is that, in general, the Socialist Party have a lot of capacity to regenerate himself. They have had internal crisis very strong. In the case of the disappearance of Felipe González, they were able to create a new leadership with Zapatero, and they did the same with Pedro Sánchez. So they have the capacity to reinvent themselves. But two bad news for them. On the one hand, and it is very important, now they have the minor level of territorial powers they have ever had in all its history.
It's pretty bad.
So for them it's terrible, because at the end of the day, the only relevant in, let's say, GDP terms that they are leading is Catalonia. And Catalonia is complicated as well. But in general, they are having a lot of problems, and if you don't have territorial politics in Spain, your party is weaker. And on the other hand, something that have happened in general, not only to the socialists, but in general, I will say at global level, which is the decapitalization of politics. Meaning by that, intellectuals, smart people prefer to do not enter in politics.
Wow.
They don't want to participate on that.
Wow.
Why? Well, it's the result of a very polarized politics.
No, of course.
I mean, it is very bad paid. You have a lot of tension. Your family is exposed to criticism. Social media also will make all your life.
Yeah.
So people prefer to do not enter. And it is not the same that 15 or 20 years ago.
No, and you had to deal with the fallout of that for years and years to come.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that people wouldn't want to be
exactly. So it's easier to you to enter in politics when you are in government.
Right.
I mean, if Pedro Sánchez come here and say, "Oh, I will appoint you as minister," well, you can say, "Okay, I will pay the price."
Right.
But if they say, "Okay, you can be the speaker of the opposition,"
yeah.
well, it's not so good.
Is there anyone you could think of as an up and coming rising talent?
I'm not able to imagine how the next Socialist Party will look. But it's true that probably it's the time of having a female candidate.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think that however, I don't know if we're gonna see someone coming back into power anytime soon. I mean, the damage that it's being done on the Socialist Party right now with all of these open Leire, Zapatero,
exactly.
Caso Coldo, Ábalos, etc. And then Sanchez has his own problems, which is his wife, his brother. This has damaged the reputation of the Socialist Party for a long time.
For sure. I mean, even the own Pedro Sánchez can be prosecuted as well. I mean, it's something that may happen when he left the Moncloa. So at the end of the day, it's true that it is not only the change in the sign of the government, it's also that we will lack opposition.
Right.
Because the socialists will be having this prosecution and these investigations for years.
Yeah.
And it will take for them 4-6 years to finish all these trials that are going on right now. Imagine Zapatero it's extremely complicated to follow all the money and to investigate all the potential ramifications of this scandal. Yeah. So for them, it's going to be terrible.
It's incredible how. Do you think? I have a related question, but first, do you think that there's any chance that Sanchez is going to be prosecuted after he leaves office?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, let's see what's going on. But for instance, if he is in the notebook of Leire as PS, I mean, maybe in the future, not now, it's not possible now because he's the president of the government, but maybe in the future when he is not protected by the fuero of parlamentario, it could happen.
Yeah. I can't help but think, lots of foreigners listen to this podcast and read our newsletter. So I can't help but think this sort of, I don't know if you would call it disconnect, but there is a very big difference between the perception of Pedro Sánchez abroad, which is the sort of like left-wing progressive hero, and his image in domestic politics, which is not the opposite, but it's very badly damaged in comparison. So do you think that people outside of Spain understand what's happening with Pedro Sánchez right now? Do you think that he's going to continue to be a progressive success story?
I'm not sure of that. It depends, because remember, it's not the same as the caso of Lula da Silva or the caso of, I don't know, José Sócrates, was other leaders that have been prosecuted, and after a time, it was discovered that they were innocent. We don't know what's going to happen here. But it's true that there's a very, very hard disconnection between how Pedro Sánchez is perceived outside. I mean, it makes sense I think, based on two principles. First, Pedro Sánchez loved international politics in comparison with all our former presidents since the era of Felipe González.
And he has a very public profile as well.
Exactly. He always, this is something extremely good. And I mean, he has been able to connect in a given moment of the composition of the liberal order with this need of, calling for action in favor of the traditional rule of law at international level and so on. That is very cheap outside because Spain is a medium source power. I mean, we don't have a real influence to some extent. But at the same time, it's exactly the kind of policy he has room of maneuver. I mean, you don't need to go to Congress to pass a bill about your position on Palestine. But you know that all the progressive people here in Spain will support it. And at the global level, people will support it. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Do you think that, considering all of these corruption cases that are definitely affecting his popularity, what does it say about him when he comes out and says, I had no idea this was happening. And let's just ignore his wife or his brother for now, because that's tricky. But when it comes to Zapatero, when it comes to Ábalos, Koldo, what does it say about him as the leader of the country that he didn't know this was happening in his parliament?
Here, I mean, the problem here is that it's not reliable.
Right.
I mean, he's not reliable. It's literally impossible that the person who has the Centro Nacional de Inteligencia, you have the spy system here in Spain, wasn't aware about what's going on his own party. It's totally impossible. I mean, you have two kind of responsibilities here that are very connected with the same reasons he used a motion of no confidence against Mr. Rajoy, which
absolutely.
was you are negligencia in vigilando or in eligendo, no? I mean, you weren't able to follow up or to survey what's going on in your party, or you failed because you appointed the wrong persons to different positions in office. And I mean, you can, to some extent, trust him when he said, first time with Mr. Ábalos. But then he appoints Santos Cerdán, and Santos Cerdán is prosecuted as well. I mean, 2 times, the same persons. Then it's very difficult to be trusted that he didn't have any clue of what's going on. So to be honest, what could have been something that probably will save or could have saved his own party was to resign.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, 1 year ago, if he had resigned 1 year ago, you are still having room of maneuver to appoint a new prime minister that could follow the rest of the legislature and then introduce or make big reforms or big changes and then go to an election with some chances. Now, I think it's extremely difficult. And I mean, our parties here in Spain are extremely hierarchical and very disciplined.
I agree.
So it is very difficult to see this kind of movements like, like the UK.
Of course. And it also seems like this is not something he would like to do, right? It seems like he wants to lose an election and say, I finished my term.
But I could say something additional to that, which is maybe the reasons to continue is also to be protected by his position as president for all the trials that are going on could proceed in the future.
Right.
So what's going on? The project, the party, or yourself? Probably you have trade-offs here. You have to decide. Maybe go for a snap election is better for your party, but it's worse for you. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
He always chooses the same.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're going to have to wait until the summer recess is over and see what happens. Pablo, I'm going to let you go, but I have one quick question before you leave us. A few weeks ago on the radio, I think it was on Cadena Ser, you said you would pay for dinner for everyone listening if there was a motion of no confidence against Pedro Sánchez. Are you still confident this is not going to happen?
It's not going to happen.
So we're not.
So all listeners as well, if they want to join to this bet, it's not a problem.
We don't need to start preparing the reservations.
No, don't worry at all. It's not going to happen. It's not going to. It does not make sense. I mean, we will have elections on July maximum. Why go into that? Why expose the Popular Party to have an alliance with the pro-independence parties from Catalonia and have this loss of support, of their own support, and giving the opportunity to Vox to criticize them? It makes no sense.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Okay. Well, I trust you. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. I think you know a lot more than I do. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Hopefully, we can have you again at some point.
For sure.
Before an election. More than welcome to join us.
Sure.
Thanks,
you.
Pablo.
Bye.